The Abandoned, also known as The Confines, is a pretty good film. I don't think it quite delivered as strong a narrative as it was trying to, but in general, I thought it was not too bad. This was released in 2015. It's directed by Eytan Rockaway, written by Rockaway and Ido Fluk, and we have a cast including Jason Patric, Louisa Krause, Margolis, Ezra Knight, and various others. And it's about a woman who takes up work in this empty apartment building, working at nights, and then strange things begin to happen, and she explores the space. And there's one scene in particular where she's walking down this tunnel, and it made me feel sick, because that's just terrifying. It was dark, but it was not too dark. Thankfully, the lighting in this film is quite good, and I have a lot of issues with lighting in horrors and thrillers, but the lighting here was really effective. And the tunnel just looked so terrifying. And I don't even think that was meant to be the scariest bit in the film, but for me, that was very, very effective. And I'm not going to say exactly what happens, of course, but eventually we find out. Now, I think I will, with a spoiler warning, discuss the ending at the very end, but I won't give anything away just now. And I think the apartment building looked great. The design of it was really effective. They made really great use of the space, and our protagonist, Streak, was quite likeable. I wasn't too emotionally invested in her narrative, but I cared enough for her. And in general, it was a pleasant enough experience with a nice amount of suspense. Visually, it looked really great. The characters were quite well written. The performances were very good. And I do recommend it. I will say expect the unexpected with what's happening in the film. I feel like the Abandoned is not my favourite title. I do prefer The Confines. I think that is a stronger title for the narrative, and I'll talk more about that in a moment. But in general, I thought it was a decent enough experience if you're looking for a relatively well-written narrative with a likeable protagonist and visually quite a nice experience. Then I'd say give it a go. It's probably worth watching. And I will now give a spoiler warning. I'm not going to explain what happens at the end, but I will share some thoughts on the ending, so it's kind of a spoiler. Something happens at the end that reveals what has been going on, and it took me by surprise, and I thought it made sense. I thought the ending didn't completely come out of nowhere. With the benefit of hindsight, I could see how we got there, I could see what they were going for, and I watched the film last night. With a lot of horrors, I watched them the night before and then review them afterwards, largely because I'm exhausted at 11 o'clock at night, but it gave me some time to think about it, and I wasn't sure why I didn't love the ending, but I think I was able to come to the conclusion that it just felt a bit rushed. I'm not for long, drawn-out endings. I do think endings should be as long as they need to be. Don't drag things on. It's better to wrap things up while things are still a positive experience. But I feel like I needed just a tiny little bit more. I think it could have been a little bit more powerful. I think it could have been a bit more emotional. So I don't hate ultimately what happened. I think it was quite a good decision, and that's partly why I prefer the title The Confines. I think that just makes a bit more sense once you know ultimately what has happened. But I don't think the ending was as powerfully executed as it could have been. It felt a little bit rushed. Maybe they were going for sudden and brief and impactful, here's what it is, end of the film, and you're kind of left just mouth agape wondering what on earth just happened. Maybe that's what they were going for, as a kind of quick reveal and then it's done. But for me personally, I think it would have been more powerful if they'd just maybe done a little bit more with it. Nothing too much, maybe just another 5 minutes or so, just giving us a bit more information about the character and ultimately what was actually happening. So it wasn't the perfect ending, but I didn't mind the reveal. I didn't mind ultimately what we were told has actually been happening. So I liked it enough. The Abandoned, The Confines, it's a good film, decent experience. If you're curious, then I definitely say that it's worth checking out.